Hey guys, so first off to start, this is going to be like a channel update. I've done a few of these before in the past, and if you're wondering why I'm playing WoW, WoW is going to be somewhat part of the channel update, so we're just going to sort of fly around and I'm going to chat, and it's all going to be very pretty, and yeah, seems good, man. Now if I'm looking a little bit rough, it's because I've just woken up after a very brief sleep of about 2 hours, so bear with me if I'm a bit mumbly and a bit groggy. I've, kind of just woken up. Now, for people who've been following both YouTube and my Twitch, you'll notice that I go through this habit of, I grow up to a certain point, I then disappear for a few weeks, come back, and this sort of this seems to happen every, few months. Now, why does this happen? What is the deal with that? Sort of what's going on. As most of you are aware, I've been paying attention for a long time. I have this thing called Crohn's. It's this very boring health condition. Got diagnosed with it about 4 or 5 years ago. Long and short of it, it's this lifelong kind of disease. I'll leave a link to like some website below if you want to research it. And it basically it slows me down. It's fatiguing. And it's just sort of messes with me a bit, and I've had it for a few years now, and I've just not done a particularly good job of getting it like under wraps. I am working on it, but bear with me. Right now, whenever I'm going through these like, oh, I'm gonna disappear for a few days kind of thing, or I'm gonna disappear for a few weeks, basically it's health. Now, what doesn't help too much with this is the way I like to do things. You might notice I'm pretty obsessive, so like I'll obsess over making like daily YouTube content, and I'll push daily YouTube content really hard for like a month, and then when I do that, I like won't stream, or I'll focus less on streams. I'll focus really hard on the YouTube. This is a pretty cool building. I've never been here before. And then the same with the streaming. Like I'll push really hard. I'm gonna do like 14-hour streams every day. I'm gonna wake up at this time and I push really hard. And basically, there's a expression like burning the candle at both ends. That's kind of my entire like personality in a nutshell. I'm just a bit too extreme when it comes to things like that. So I'm gonna try and sort of keep things somewhat limited so that I'm actually able to function. Without having to take these obnoxious breaks, because what will happen is I'll push really hard on the channel. We get the channel, like the numbers go up. It's like, oh god, like before my most recent break on Twitch, we were kind of looking at a point where we could maybe actually start considering applying for stuff like Twitch partnerships, which is obviously a pretty big deal for someone who doesn't make really any money from the whole streaming YouTube thing, who would like to do it long term. So I am aware that this, cycle I'm going through, it isn't great for you guys, because, the guys who have stuck around for as long as you have, and I really appreciate the support, you don't like it when, I disappear. And I don't like it because what will happen is my body gets worn out. I feel like, I need to take some time off. I take some time off. Because of the way I am, I start stressing out by the fact that I'm not streaming, or I'm not pushing the YouTube. So because I stress out, rip me, and what happened there? Because I stress out, I then obviously stress my body more, because my body then gets more like tired and stuff. It's self-perpetuating cycle, and anyway. So that sort of explains where I've been for the last few weeks. When it comes to the channel, don't worry, it's nothing major. We're working it out, I have been streaming and doing YouTube for a while now, but this whole thing is still kind of new to me, in the sense that, I do kind of need to get my head around, something which is sustainable long term. Now, what are my plans for the next few months? Why am I in WoW right now? What are my thoughts on this new Path of Exile expansion? What are my thoughts on this new WoW expansion? Wow, I've actually never been here before. This is really cool. Huh. My thoughts with the new Path of Exile expansion first. We have Atlas of Worlds. We've had a few pretty cool trailers pushed out by GG themselves, and they've posted, a few like reviews and spoilery things they've done with certain gaming magazines and, you know, YouTube channels and so forth. Base system seems cool. It seems to address a lot of my core concerns with PoE at the moment, in the sense that I've been a bit annoyed by a lack of a true progression system in PoE. The way that the progression's sort of been tailored is you reach a certain point with your character and then you sort of just run out of things to do. This is for a player like myself who I've never been interested in reaching an arbitrary number. The only times I ever really care for pushing the XP is if I'm in a try-hard racing mode, which is why in the flashback, and you know, I just set myself the personal challenge of Tarke, you're getting a demi. I made a point of pushing really hard and, you know, got an elementalist to 94 with like a day left. I re-rolled with like a day and a half left in the 2 week, got to 94. I was like, yeah, and I got my demi. I'm like, yeah. But usually I'm not really into that sort of stuff. So for a player like me, who's not really into the whole push to 100, having a progression system in maps where we have this giant atlas, it's like a giant physical map, you know, like an actual map. You have routes all leading to the middle. In the middle are 4 points. Those 4 points are 4 bosses. You work your way through it. You get there, you kill the boss, you get a key, do it from all the different aspects, all the different angles, and you end up with the key to the Shaper, which is the Dark Wanderer meets Cthulhu. But it's like the new final boss. What's that about? And yeah, seems pretty cool. I think I like it. We also have a bunch of new tile sets, which is nice because, you know, I've been a bit frustrated running the same tile sets over and over again. So from a core like mapping system, without having played it, I don't have access to like alphas or betas or anything like that. So this is purely just from what I've seen and what I've heard from people I've spoken to. I think I like it. It seems cool. It makes mapping better, which is nice. I'm still marginally disappointed that we haven't had a big sort of early revamp of the leveling like we had with 2.0 when 2.0 first came out. They went and cleaned up a lot of the earlier zones. They messed around a little bit with when we got certain skill rewards. And I really like focusing more on the early experience, because the early experience is what gets people hooked into PoE. And right now, and for the last few years, I've kind of felt like this starting experience in PoE has been a little bit lackluster. As I feel like a lot of the games I really love, and this isn't just a PoE thing, like, you know, my two main games, I'd say, you know, what are Tarke's two main games? They are Path of Exile and World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft doesn't have a particularly good starting, you know, experience either. I actually think the starting experience in World of Warcraft is also pretty meh. Kind of just not that into it. It's cool, it's pretty, I like it, but I kind of feel like both MMOs and ARPGs, they have this running issue where not as much attention and development time is put into maintaining the starter experience. And as these games, you get it, especially with a game like World of Warcraft, which is so old now, and, you know, Path of Exile is starting to approach this thing where it's, you know, it's a pretty old game. The game changes over the years, but the starting experience, you know, doesn't reflect this. And so because of that, when you're getting new players who've never played the genre before, or they've never played the game before, who come in, they come in under a false pretense. So they kind of come in and say, oh, this is what the game is about, even though end game, you know, 40 hours in, 50 hours in, however many hours it takes them to get there is completely different. And people who would actually really enjoy what the game is about, they never really get to experience it. And it's, you know, a bit of a disappointment in my eyes. But anyway, that's a side point. So for me, if Atlas of Worlds was like what would be Tarke's perfect expansion, I would want an expansion which had some cool reworks in the end game, like we've had with the mapping. And I would like something which maybe looked a little bit more into the early experience as well, maybe giving some different alternatives through the leveling process. Maybe you could do some things with looking at skill rewards. Maybe that it's time for a big rework of the passive tree. I've gone a bit bored of the passive tree in its current layout. I know that Ascendancy's done quite a lot to sort of shake things up a bit, but one of my favorite things about a new Path of Exile patch or league would be the massive reworks to the passive skill tree, which would suddenly dictate the different kinds of builds that I'd want to play for the next few months. But oh, well, when they first like changed Ranger, and you go, oh, well, this is the new very powerful bottom half of the tree. Maybe I'm going to work more into, you know, playing around with that for a while. Goblins. So good. I think I like it. If I was to be perfectly honest, I think it will be very good. I really like Atlas World, but I would really like to see some of the points I mentioned or looked at in the upcoming patches and expansions and so forth with, you know, Path of Exile. The new league, Essence League, I think is a kind of interesting mechanic, especially for the way I'm planning on playing Path of Exile for the next league. So if people who've been following the stream knows that I've been doing this thing called Group Self-Found. What Group Self-Found is it's self-found in a group. So the way that I've got it set up, Simon actually originally came up with the idea when he approached me with it. Simon's one of my mods, who's someone I play with a lot with. But funnily enough, this idea of doing some kind of self-found thing, a lot of people have been talking about it for a while. I know that a few other streamers have been talking about maybe doing self-found stuff. There was the whole thing where Pox and Bobbington did their like special challenge league for Prophecy. And it's basically, it's about turning PoE into the game you want to play long term, because when it comes to the streamers, you know, we play a lot, we play a obnoxious amount of hours, and we try and do it every day to the end of the league, because, you know, that's what gets the views and it's what grows the community and so on and so forth. So that's what we try and do. So anyway, what the group self-found thing will be, we're looking to get a few people together. We currently have a couple. Yoji may not be into it. He doesn't really know what he's doing scheduling wise, which is fair enough, but it looks like at the moment it will be Simon, Eldo, two guys I play a lot with, moderators on my channel, myself, maybe Yoji, maybe a few others, I don't know, but we kind of pick a character, we make the character, we can only trade with the other people in the challenge kind of thing. We have to clear all of the content in terms of, like, we have to clear all the bosses, like Zeri, Uber, maybe Uber Zeri, Uber Lab, but, you know, all the bosses, Pale Council, the Shaper, the new stuff. We need to progress through all of the map tiers before we can, like, consider it, like, a completed challenge. We basically need to do all of the things. Now with Essence League and the way that Essence League works, I feel like this might actually be a pretty interesting way of playing the game, because the core mechanic, as far as I'm aware, and again, I haven't played it because I haven't got access to it or anything like that, is you encounter these like crystallized frozen monsters, like packs of mobs out in the world. You like click on them, I don't know if we just shatter them or whatever, you engage them in some way, and then you fight them and they drop their essence, and the essence is like an orb. You put it on an item, cool things happen, bridges are difficult apparently, and you take it, you put it on your item, and let's say we got an essence of lightning, it will add lightning themed things. Ooh, fell invasions. It will add lightning themed things to the item. So for example, put it on a sword, it might get some flat lightning damage. If we were to put it on a chest piece, it will have stuff like you have a chance to avoid lightning damage, which is pretty cool. So on and so forth. Now, right off the bat, one of my issues with the system, which, you know, Yoji mentioned quite nicely in his little accurate teaser trailer, or Yoji trailer, is it's a massive wall of text. You see this orb, and it's just like 15 lines of text, which it's not the most elegant solution. I feel like they could have maybe come up with a slightly cleaner way of doing it, but it seems kind of cool. And they're trying to push crafting. They're basically trying to push the power of rares to compete a little bit with uniques. Now, for a self-found kind of thing, where access to uniques is pretty limited, this is obviously pretty awesome. Depending on how powerful this system turns out to be, depending... Alright, Dwarf. Depending on how this system turns out to, you know, flesh out, brilliant for Self-Hunts, that's cool. Now, one of my issues is, as you may be aware, there's this kind of thing called World of Warcraft. It's this game we're currently flying around in. And there's this expansion called Legion, which is all about demons invading Azeroth. Now, I plan on playing some Legion. Legion launches on the 30th of August. Now, for me, based on where I am in the world, it basically launches at like midnight, so the 31st, really. 31st of August, pretty much. The new Path of Exile stuff launches on like the 2nd. So that is a very small window. I was hoping I'd have about a week, maybe a week and a half between the two launching so that I could have Legion come out, get my character to max level. I'm mostly focusing on just some casual raiding to keep myself entertained. It's just nice little side projects. A few people, Mim, one of my mods, hangs out a lot. This is the guy who went with me to the PoE Berlin meetup, a really cool guy. A bunch of his friends were setting up a guild. I was kind of looking for a guild for Legion. I got a bunch of my friends. I have some friends from Project 60. They got a bunch of people from Project 60. And it's basically like this just massive group of people kind of going, hey, we all kind of want other people to play with. And we're making this casual guild to do, you know, heroic clears and maybe a tad bit of mythic. But basically just like, just feel out the game sort of thing. Now, my plan was I'd have about a weekish. I would be able to get to level cap, get my character ready to raid, and then I'd basically just be locking in to WoW to... Oh god, I'm getting wrecked. I feel like the ship started attacking me. That I'd be able to log in, you know, do my raids, do my little daily content, and sort of just be chilling. Now, because of the very small time window I have, the way that I'm probably going to handle this is when Legion comes out, assuming the servers are working, I will stream Legion launch, and I might maybe start the Path of Exile group stuff. I might start like a day late, just so that gives me like another day just to get my character ready in WoW. Now, what this will let me do is basically get a character ready, get him geared up, get all that cool shenanigans, and just sort of enjoy having this kind of like little side burner project. I might maybe make some YouTube content for WoW, maybe some guides and the such. That's what my YouTube channel originally started on, was, you know, WoW discussion videos and guides for I started streaming Path of Exile. But it will very much still be a Path of Exile stream. So basically my plan is Legion launches, I'll take a few days, stream Legion launch, go back to streaming PoE. Now, I'm in a slightly awkward position where, as a small streamer who doesn't have the sub button, and is hoping to eventually possibly make a living, or at least pay for my food and maybe my rent, through streaming, the way that you go about getting sub button is you get a certain amount of views, you send an application to Twitch, they check your application, they review it. If they like it, they go, If they are like, maybe, they say, message us back in a few weeks, which is like you message them back in a few weeks, and they say yes, they say no, or they say, get a couple more viewers, like get another 50 viewers average, get another 100 viewers average when you stream. Cool beans, right? I'm under no illusion that if I stream WoW, I'm going to get a lot less viewers than if I stream Path of Exile, because, you know, I've built myself as a Path of Exile channel. Now, because of this, what this will mean is that whenever I do stream WoW, my views will be low. So, as someone who doesn't have button, who needs to apply, I don't know how much that's going to screw me over, because my analytics will be messed up. So before I had my last health break, which was about 3 weeks, we were pulling on average a very steady 100 plus. We were getting pretty close to 200. Like, we would start around about 70 in the first hour or two. We'd get up into about 100, 120. We'd maybe pick up a host or something, jump up to like a few hundred, like 400, 500. ride that for a bit, steady down, and we'd stabilize between about 100, 200-ish. We were in like a really nice spot, and it was around that point where we're like, if we were to be closer to the 200 aspect of things, we could have thought about getting the sub now, or applying for it, right? With streaming WoW, I will probably have similar viewers, I would imagine, to when I did my Pokemon Nuzlocke run. I imagine I'd probably hold about maybe 30 viewers. Maybe. Now, if I'm only holding about 30 viewers, then I don't know how Twitch would react. If I'm like, hey, if I'm streaming one game, I get this many, but, you know, I play this sometimes just like on the side, so like, don't freak out that my numbers are weird. That's something that I personally need to work out. But what will most likely happen is, outside of Legion launch, I probably won't stream WoW, and what I'll probably have to do is, if I feel like playing some WoW, is like, hey guys, we've just done like a 6 or 7 hour PoE stream, and then rather streaming a couple more hours of a side game, probably stopping the stream and then doing that off. Now, obviously, I'd rather do everything on stream because I enjoy streaming, I enjoy hanging out with chat, and it's a fun thing. But at the same time, I don't want to screw myself over. And again, it's not about chasing the money or being sellout or anything. It's just about being able to sustain doing this long term, because at the moment it is, I have some money in the bank, and I have some money in the bank. My plan is actually to hopefully in the next month or so move in with an old school friend, so that my living costs go way down, making this a more like realistic long-term plan. But, you know, we'll see how that all goes. Now, I didn't really make this video to freak people out. I just kind of wanted to be like, hey, health, games are coming out. I will most likely stream a little bit of Legion at start. I'll then just go back to using my usual PoE streams. I'm planning on raiding about 2 nights a week, with maybe a third night for like 5-man Mythic Plus stuff or whatever. So what will most likely happen is I will take maybe like, let's theoretically say my raid nights were Thursdays and Fridays, is we do our full usual PoE stream, and then we'd end them a few hours early so I can go off and do my WoW raid. Now, the reason why I want to play Legion, and the reason why I want to have this like sort of, you know, part-time gamey thing, is burnout. Now, with Path of Exile is an amazing game. It's a game I've been playing for years and years and years and years and years. When you're just streaming the same thing every single day, if you kind of get into a slight burnout, now some streamers are lucky, like PC Child Ziz, he's some sort of machine, half Red Bull, half man, and he just has like infinite love for PoE, and he can just play it, like play it. It doesn't matter if he's enjoying the league or not, he can just play it. With me, I didn't really enjoy Prophecy that much, so I found the logging in every single day doing the 12-hour streams, it kind of kills me a bit. So when my health is bad and I'm sort of getting killed a bit, you know, it's like, ooh. So I'm hoping that by taking a slightly more relaxed approach with slightly more realistic stream hours, and having kind of like a side, this is my unwinding game, which is what I want WoW to kind of be, that I'll be able to achieve, you know, we stream a lot, like we stream like 10 hours a day, no problem, but then we don't kill ourselves after 3 months and have to disappear. Like, that is the ideal long-term goal, and that's kind of where this whole video, I've been trying to explain in a very long-winded fashion, sort of where I'm hoping to get to. So, yeah, bear with me. If you guys do have any interest in Legion content, anything like that, please do leave it down below, because I will, you know, make some discussion kind of videos on it. But how much I will do that will often depend on, you know, what you guys are kind of into. One other thing, which I'll just quickly throw out, anyone who sat through this, I really appreciate it. Anyone who sat through this who's looking for a raiding guild in Legion, Alliance, Frostmate. Has to be EU, because obviously EU guild. Alliance Frost main, we need a Holy Pally. I really want a Holy Pally. And we want DPS. Ideally, range DPS, but if you say, yo, I can play X, Y, and Z class, I'm like, yeah, we want X, Y, and Z class, and you seem like a cool dude, and you can make our hours and times. PogChamp. We plan on streaming 7:30 to about 10:30 UK time. So that's basically EU -1. Just Google it, work it out. And for raid nights, we're not 100% set because we have people going off to uni and we're just waiting to have everything 100% confirmed. But if it kind of seems like, yeah, I think I'd like to raid with, you know, Mim, I'd like to raid with Scaff, I'd like to raid with Tarke, and those hours seem somewhat, you know, decent for you, let me know. Let me know. But as for PoE, I must admit, I'm pretty excited for Path of Exile, especially with the whole self-found thing. One of the things that I do particularly like about the self-found limitations is it makes the game very reminiscent of when I first started playing. Obviously, since we do have some like intermittent trading between the group, we do have access to powerful items, and if one of us gets a good unique early on, like for example, I got a Joffrey's Baptism, which I got to pass on to Eldo, who's doing Earthquake, so you kind of got that little like twink experience. You have a general leveling and ending experience closer to the game a few years ago, in that it's all a bit scarier, it's all a bit slower, it feels a bit more meaningful in the fact that you don't just like equip your best in slot and just race and just like cool and we go on PB trade and we just shop. Like freaking out halfway through Cruel because we haven't got resists is kind of fun. There's something kind of nice having like, oh god, I've got like 12 lightning res and I have to kill party, and I've made a point of going to do some docks, praying that maybe I get a new ring drop. And you know, we had a few little moments like that leveling, and I don't know, I'm actually really looking forward to that aspect of PoE. So for anyone who's still hanging in there, trying to make the most out of Prophecy, who's maybe having a bit of a bad time with it, I'd recommend trying to work out what kind of game do you actually enjoy playing. PoE does, and all ARPGs struggle with the whole, you know, softcore v hardcore, and you must play X, Y, and Z. You know, just sort of play what you want to play, man. If you think that you really enjoy doing Uber at Zeri and only Uber at Zeri, do your Blayful Minds. Do it to hell. If that's what you enjoy, do it. Don't let some random dude tell you that that's the bad thing to do. Just play the game you want to play at the end of the day. And I think hopefully through doing the whole group self-found thing, I don't know if I'll do it for all of the next league, but at least a good portion, like the good first half. You know, it keeps the game kind of fresh. And yeah, I'm pretty looking forward to having lots of games to play. We had this weird stagnation of like nothing coming out, and then suddenly all the games are coming out at once. There's also a Hearthstone expansion coming out during this month. And I'm one of those guys with too much money invested into Hearthstone to quit now, and I apparently enjoy it on occasion when I'm not getting ranked by 4-mana 7/7s. But anyway, I know this has been kind of a long-windy, sort of rambly kind of Tarky talks to himself while flying around WoW, but I hope that you've enjoyed it, and if you do like this format, then do let me know. But I think I'm going to try and get some sleep now, so yeah. Seems good. I will try and get back to the actual content soon. TM. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.